What is your American dream?
My American dream changes throughout my lifetime. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pro football player, just like most other kids, right? But your American dream is really about having enough to take care of yourself and your family, and just do right by others, and they do right by you. It's really just a cooperation with everyone that really, when you get older, you realize it's not about money or fame or anything like that. It's more about just working together as a community of people.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. And just like that, we are back. It is Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Welcome back, Brad Squad. Welcome back, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, the man who put Yo in Yo-Yo. The man who put T in TV.
Yeah.
The man who single-handedly disabled an unmarked police car with a banana. How are you? What's going on?
I'm feeling good.
Yes.
It feels good to be back.
Very good. Yeah.
You're looking good.
Thank you very
you
much.
Got your tan, your beige.
Yes.
Remember when Obama had his beige suit, the tan suit, and like
everybody was freaking out.
Yeah, everybody was freaking out.
Yeah, because that wasn't presidential. Well, it's summer now. It's hot outside.
There you go.
Yeah. How was Colombia? You went down to Colombia. I saw
did.
you.
Cartagena with some friends.
I saw you dancing.
Amazing. Saw me dancing.
Yes.
In Playa de la Trinidad.
Oh, very
nice.
nice.
That's where we were.
Very nice.
Yeah, I learned a little Spanish.
Yes. What'd you learn? You could teach the squad something?
I forgot now. Like it was really good while I was there. I was actually like, getting really good. But yeah. It was a great trip.
I was in the Middle East, and then I was in Africa.
Yeah, look at you.
Yes, all over the world. Middle East and Africa.
I always ask, just take me.
I'll take you.
Put me in my luggage.
You come with me on the plane.
What?
You come with me on the plane. Let's say hello to the squad. Let's see what's going on. Jessica Levy saying, "Squad up, my loves. Welcome back. I am you." Which is, I miss you.
Yes, okay. We miss you too. Aww.
Kavar Harris, squad up. Elizabeth Francis, squad up. How are you? Maureen McFarland. Do any of these names sound familiar to you?
All of them.
They all do. You didn't forget anybody.
No. But not only do they sound familiar, I miss them so much.
Yes, we miss them too. It's Apple Pie. Zeleny Fisher. Night, everybody. Tracy Haynes Thompson, squad up. How are you? Elizabeth Francis, welcome back. Was waiting patiently for this moment. I can smile again. Lisa Blingrose, Joe and Erica, squad up. How are you? Just Jacqueline Daly, British Everblessed Davis, squad up. How are you as well? We have a big roll call today. Alcia Stone, squad up. And who else we see here? Rob J. Roberts.
Hey.
Mr. Negative with a positive comment.
Wow.
Two shades. He ususually, but I guess he's missed it so much that he even has something positive to say.
We like that.
Yes, how are you? And who else we got here? Thomasina Starks Grimes, squad up. Cynthia Wallace, how are you? Keith Anthony Ben. And I said Deion Reed. I think I said Cynthia Wallace too, but if not, squad up to you all. Kavar Harris almost won a cup.
Almost.
Number one on YouTube. Jessica Levy beat him out on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
Almost.
Earth Angel, welcome back. Welcome back to you as well. And Louis Vuitton.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the Louis Vuitton.
You never know.
A Louis Vuitton saying, squad up, how are you?
What's
All right, Yo-Yo, take it away.
Absolutely. All right, squad. So you already know what time it is. It is time to share this with any and everybody, especially if they don't know that we're back. Let them know that we're back, and also throw in your questions in the comment section, because we're going to be answering those questions during social media check-in. I'm going to be scouring and making sure I get all those questions to Brad so he can answer them for you, because we're about to start talking about the the latest headlines, including the news that a federal judge has blocked the Biden administration from lifting the public health order known as Title 42 that's been used to quickly expel migrants at the southwest border, including asylum seekers. The Biden administration had planned on lifting the order today. And of course, we're going to be starting off the week with some fuzzy stories. We love the Fuzzy Monday stories about our animal friends like Patron, the bomb-sniffing Ukrainian hero dog who recently received a medal for dedicated service from the country's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
And of course, I have a public service announcement, Jonathan.
What do we got?
Elizabeth Francis, congratulations. She just announced part of the squad, that she just got her 10-year green card today.
Wow!
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah.
And instead of celebrating, she's celebrating with the squad. Or she's starting her celebration with the squad, with the crew and everybody.
I love it.
And of course, I'm sorry?
Wait, Cynthia Wallace actually saying Happy Labor Day, Jamaica.
Oh, it is Labor Day in Jamaica today.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that news. Happy Labor Day to Jamaica.
Absolutely.
And by the way, if you want to call on our show, we have only a couple lines left. Telephone number is scrolling at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-529-5465. Internationally, it's +1 212-227-8933. And later in the show, Jonathan's going to be speaking with Hector Rodriguez. He's the creator of the El Peso Hero comic series. Jonathan, a Mexican-American superhero who helps fight cartels, human trafficking, and corrupt border patrol at the southern border. The most recent comic, El Peso Hero, travels to Ukraine and helps to rescue Ukrainian refugees. The edition is available for free download with a link encouraging people to donate to UNICEF.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to schmooze? We haven't schmoozed in a while.
Let's talk about it.
So Title 42, Jonathan, was supposed to be lifted today.
Yeah.
A federal judge in Louisiana put a stop to it. District Judge Robert Summerhays, a Trump appointee in Lafayette, Louisiana, he ruled that the Biden administration did not do what, Jonathan? Did not follow their own administrative law and rules when it announced in April that it planned to halt Title 42. It's the same argument every time. Summerhays said in his ruling that the Biden administration violated administrative procedure law and that lifting Title 42 would cause irreparable harm because the states would have to spend money on health care, law enforcement, education, and other service for immigrants. Now, Summerhays wrote that the CDC failed to comply with the rulemaking requirements of the APA. By the way, us immigration lawyers use the APA all the time. Every time USCIS makes a decision that is against an immigrant, we also use the same rules. The Administrative Procedures Act say immigration didn't even follow their own rules in denying this decision. Here it's being used against immigrants.
Yeah.
The Biden administration had to do what, Jonathan? We always talk about this all the time. They had to publish their rulemaking in the Federal Register. They said they did not. They did not publish notices of the proposed rule. They did not publish final rulemaking in the Federal Register, and they did not provide an opportunity for the public to comment on the change in the rules.
So, but why?
Because in order to do that, it would take 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months.
So what, they thought that they were going to just get...
They thought they would just fast track it. And maybe, by the way, Biden did it on purpose. Maybe he doesn't want to end. Okay, maybe
this is
I'm
just kind of the safe face.
It's
like, I tried,
I tried to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
But he knew that it would be blocked because they didn't follow their own rulemaking.
Yeah.
So he can soothe the left and say, we tried. But at the same time,
that's what it's feeling
keep the center in place, because you know what'll happen is this will all be Biden has so much going against him going into the midterm elections.
Yeah.
We have a problem with inflation. We have a problem. COVID is still not under control. We have an economy that's reeling. The stock market has tanked. People lost billions of dollars in Bitcoin, tanked. We're having supply chain issues. People can't get baby formula.
Yeah, I just heard
we have
about
a war in Europe right now. I mean, there's a lot going on.
It's not his fault.
I mean, a lot of it's not his fault. I mean, I would even argue that the inflation's not his fault.
Right.
I mean, it's a leftover residual of all the money that was printed during COVID.
Exactly.
But it's on his watch.
It's on his watch. So
the last thing, if you're President Biden saying, politically, the last thing we need is another issue with everybody yelling, we open the borders. Although we're going to talk about that in a second. Title 42 is not necessarily opening the borders. It's actually the opposite. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, Title 42 is still in existence because of this decision by federal judge. It'll probably be months and months and months and months and months before it gets lifted. For those who don't remember, Title 42 is the rule that Donald Trump put into place to prevent people from crossing the border, applying for asylum, either at an airport or at the southern border, because he did not want, it was under the guise of don't allow people into the country because of COVID. Now, according to the New York Times, Stephen Miller, remember him, Lurch? Remember that guy, Lurch?
Yep.
Okay. He looked like Lurch from the Addams Family.
He did. Yep.
Right. This guy here. I don't know if we have a picture of Lurch, but I swear to God, this guy looks like Lurch. All right. He was the senior advisor to former President Donald Trump, and he had proposed the idea to invoke Title 42. He was the one who put it in Trump's ear at the U.S.-Mexico border as early as 2019, well before there was ever a coronavirus issue.
Yeah.
He told Trump to do this before there was coronavirus. And now, according to the Associated Press, when the pandemic hit, former Vice President Mike Pence ordered Robert Redfield, then the director of the Centers for Disease Control, to invoke Title 42 over the objections of CDC scientists who said there was no evidence that would slow the virus spread in the United States. In fact, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, has said that immigrants are not driving up the number of COVID-19 cases at all. As the pandemic has dragged on, Title 42 has been discussed, obviously, less and less as a public health issue. It is now an immigration issue. Now, according to Sheriff David Hathaway of Santa Cruz, Arizona, he is a sheriff right there on the border between the United States and Mexico. He wrote a piece in the Arizona Central, which is a newspaper out in Arizona, on May 9th, and I thought it was interesting some of the points he laid out. And the piece was titled "Take It from a Border Sheriff." One of the things he says is that Title 42 has inflated statistics of what was taking place at the border as migrants face immediate deportation with no processing and no repercussions for repeat offenders. So it's the same people coming in, getting caught, being returned, getting caught again, being returned. So which is why now you see the numbers of deportations up. But if it was the number of actual individuals who got deported, maybe the numbers are not as high, but what you have one person maybe being deported 3, 4, 5, 6 times who keeps getting caught. Meanwhile, he also said, which I thought was interesting, because I didn't think of it this way until I read this article, so I wanted to point it out. He says Title 42 was being enforced. Guess who was traveling to Mexico? Millions of Americans.
True.
They didn't have any problem coming back. They didn't have any problem bringing coronavirus back. Of course, an American would never have coronavirus and bring it back to the United States. They were not subject to Title 42 at all. And he said that his colleagues at the border, instead of Title 42, what they need is bolstered procedures and an infrastructure to properly and humanely process all types of claims. What they really need is this. They need like thousands and thousands of immigration judges at the border. Thousands and thousands of immigration judges at the border who could hear somebody's asylum claim in some sort of immediate fashion. And those that have real claims are allowed in, and those who are not get deported home. That is a better use of money than everything that's going on at the border right now with detentions and everything else.
Yeah.
You know how much cheaper it would be?
I was about to say, it's probably cheaper too.
Yeah, but
Like,
you know, there's money in detaining people. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, there is money in detaining people. We say it all the time. You want to know why? Because all of these jails where immigrants are being detained are a for-profit companies. Many of them are publicly traded companies.
Mm-hmm.
They need prisoners to make money.
Yep.
And by the way, I read another article. It was by an immigrant rights activist, Border Patrol accountability activist, and what is
Jen Budd.
Jen Budd, thank you very much. And she wrote that Title 42 has done nothing to actually stop migrants. And I thought this was pretty interesting too. You know, because she claims, you know, it starts the article, she claims that Republicans and even Democrats are making Title 42 a big deal. That this is what's being used to stop migrants from crossing the border, having these asylum applicants come in, be allowed into the United States, be allowed to work and live here while their application is being processed. Now, according to her, people needing to claim asylum are required to submit themselves for inspection at CBP at various border entries. Under Title 42, the ports have been closed to this avenue. So you can't now go on anywhere on the southern border and apply for asylum. So now by definition, those asylum seekers who are in fear for their lives have nowhere to go apply for asylum. And by closing the ports and access to these CBP officers, Title 42 has forced thousands and thousands of people to try to run across the border without inspection. And now that is all left to Department of Homeland Security officials who are on the border trying to stop all of this. They've actually pushed all the work now to Border Patrol agents who are trying to stop migrants from entering the country without inspection, returning them back to their countries, only to have them come back weeks and weeks later. It's like a back and forth cat and mouse game. Meanwhile, we have lots and lots of officers at airports who have been left out of the equation. Can't process any asylum claims. So they put more pressure, has actually put more pressure on the border than less. It has actually had the reverse effect.
Yeah.
So now, although processing asylum seekers is part of their job, they used to share this task with CBP, and thanks to Title 42, she writes, half of our asylum processing system that screens every person requesting asylum is not being used. So now it's all Border Patrol who are trying to catch immigrants, not accepting their asylum claims, returning them, detaining them for profit, then returning them, only for them to return again. That's where the pressure comes from. Now, Bud writes, whatever your take is on the immigration asylum, what Title 42 has done is demonstrated that a closed border is dangerous to national security. Forcing people seeking asylum to cross in between the ports is not only dangerous for them, it puts more money in the hands of smugglers. It ties up the Border Patrol with processing that should be done by CBP, and it further prevents those individuals from being inspected. So that's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And there's a simple solution to all of this. Hire and train 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 immigration judges. Hire and train 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 trial attorneys. Open up, turn those jails into courthouses.
If only.
Right, turn those jails into courthouses. And then somebody shows up for asylum, have their hearing within a day or two.
Where's the money at for them?
Right, have your hearing in a day or two. And it'll do two things. One, it will prevent people from thinking that if they apply for asylum, they can get a work permit and live here for years while their application is being processed. And two, it does a total adjudication within days.
Yeah.
So it's totally possible. But why would you want to get rid of those jails that make money on people?
That's what I'm saying. Where's the money in that? They're
I
not
said,
gonna
why
do that.
would you want to do that?
Yeah, they're not going to do that, which is so sad.
Yeah. Meanwhile, another sad situation on May 16th. This is a little trifling.
Yeah.
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that federal courts cannot you cannot do an appeal based on a factual decision made by an immigration judge. So if an immigration judge makes a decision, you can only appeal if they applied the law wrong. but you cannot appeal that they got the facts wrong. Even in this particular case of a Georgia man by the name of Pankchu Marker Patel, and he lived in the United States for 30 years, and it was a blatant error by the immigration judge, where the immigration judge said that because he checked off a box that he was a U.S. citizen on a Georgia driver's license, that automatically prevented him from becoming a citizen and made him absolutely deportable. Except on Georgia driver's licenses, there's no requirement to be a U.S. citizen to get a driver's license. And he had a green card. So by him checking off the fact that he was a U.S. citizen had no bearing on whether or not he would have gotten a driver's license.
Right.
He could have said he was from Mars, and he would have been able to get a driver's license. And he claims it was just an error because he didn't read it well, or was doing it fast, or whatever. Blatant error by the immigration judge.
Right.
But the immigration judge came down with the factual proposition that he made a false claim to U.S. citizenship on a driver's license application. And as a result of that, he got ordered deported after living in the United States for 30 years as a lawful
crazy.
permanent resident. So that case went all the way up to the Supreme Court. You know what the Supreme Court said? Even if the judge made an error, too bad. We cannot overrule factual errors. So it was a 5-4 vote. The majority interpreted the law at issue as limiting courts from considering relief and leaving it up to the discretion of immigration officials to apply in factual dispute cases as to whether someone is eligible for that discretionary relief and removal. One conservative judge by the name of Neil Gorish sided with the three liberals, and he said in his dissent that the decision will act as a shield to protect the government from the embarrassment of having to correct obvious errors.
Right.
And unfortunately, what that goes to show, if you ever thought you need an immigration lawyer at an interview, now you really do, because the reality is this: you can't appeal anything anymore. You got to argue it out right there.
And a lot of people don't know certain things, Get you a lawyer, y'all.
Meanwhile, this was very trifling when we were on
vacation.
The gunman that killed 10 people, wounded 3 others at the Tops Friendly Market, a predominantly black neighborhood in Buffalo. 11 of the people who were shot, 11 of the 13 people who were shot were black. The victims range in age from 20 years old to 86 years old. One of the victims was the mother of the former fire department chief of that area. The suspect was identified as Peyton Gendron, an 18-year-old from Conklin, New York, who allegedly wrote a white supremacist manifesto. He traveled about 200 miles to what he thought was the largest predominantly black neighborhood in upstate New York. Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia said the attack was a racist hate crime, obviously. He said it's going to be prosecuted as a racist hate crime. He says that the evidence we have uncovered so far makes no mistake that this is an absolute racist hate crime. It's going to be prosecuted as a hate crime, and that is someone who has hate in their heart, has hate in their soul, and has hate in their mind. Governor Hochul announced $2.8 million in federal and state funding for the victims and their families. It doesn't bring them back.
That's nothing.
It doesn't bring them back. And she said that this was targeted as the busiest place in that area at the busiest time, at the zip code with the largest predominantly black neighborhood in upstate New York. It is 78% black, that zip code, 14208. Now, an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle was used, and in the manifesto, the person who wrote this, which presumably is this killer, wrote about the perceptions of the dwindling size of the white population, and claims white people were being replaced by non-white people. And this, quote, replacement theory, which was a fringe idea for a while, is now gaining a foothold in many people's thoughts, and is being repeated on Fox News.
Oh,
one of the three big news stations: Fox, CNN, MSNBC. On April 8th, nobody's friend here, Tucker Carlson, no friend of anybody here. Let's watch what he had to say.
Every time they import a new voter, I become disenfranchised as a current voter.
So
I know that the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter become literally hysterical if you use the term replacement, if you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true. Every time they import a new voter, I become disenfranchised as a current voter.
Well, as more people vote, your vote becomes less.
Right.
But that has nothing to do with anything. I mean, you could have, who knows who's coming in here.
Exactly.
In any given time. Now, in an April 11th article, Charles Blow, he's a very well-known New York Times opinion columnist, he wrote that, Carlson caused an uproar on April 8th by promoting this racist, anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, the white replacement theory. And it stands, this theory is this, that the Jewish community is orchestrating the replacement of white Christians with people of color to disenfranchise white Christians. Now, white supremacists in this country have long worried about being replaced by people that goes all the way back to 1890. 2 decades after the end of the Civil War, there was a very well-known judge by the name of, racist judge, by the way, by the name of Solomon Calhoun of Mississippi. And he wrote, even back in 1890, that he was worried that white voters will be replaced and outnumbered by black voters. So you know what that did? You know what they did as a result of that?
What?
Jim Crow.
There you go.
They started Jim Crow. That's where Jim Crow came out of white replacement theory.
Wow.
So for those who don't know, Jim Crow was a set of laws instituted in the South to disenfranchise black voters, to segregate black voters, to make black voters less able to be even educated for everything.
Yeah, because of the fear of black domination.
Yeah. So now it's Jim Crow again, but now not black American voters, foreigners.
Yes.
That's what it is. Erica Smith, she wrote on May 15th article in the LA Times that in many ways this conspiracy theory also has some roots in the 1990s when Republicans, desperate to hold on to power, were spreading fear and paranoia about millions of Mexican immigrants wanting resources and rights. And she wrote that the real origin, the Great Replacement theory, though, is much older and linked to anti-Semitism, in that white supremacists blame Jews for non-white immigration. Hence, the chance of Jews will not replace us in Charlottesville. And also, remember, the racists were with the tiki torches in Charlottesville. And it's also been cited as a motive for numerous mass shootings. The one in Buffalo just now, the one at a Jewish synagogue in 2019.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And also because of this great replacement
like in San
theory.
Diego or something, right?
Yeah. The version of theory making the rounds now says that America is becoming more diverse, which is absolutely true, but that some secret group of elite Democrats is conspiring to bring in immigrants to replace the white Christian people. And however, the truth is that many of the Latinos actually put Trump in power.
Right.
Okay. If you remember, the Latinos in Florida voted Trump.
Scaring them into it.
They voted Trump. All right, because they didn't want Trump scared many of the Latinos who came from communist, historically
So
communist and
Biden
socialist countries, that Biden was a socialist and a communist.
Right.
The last thing they want is to escape communism and socialism,
To
get
come.
to America to have more communism and socialism. So Trump scared them into voting for them.
Took
So
the
you
bait.
can't even say that even immigrants are voting all Democrat.
Right.
Meanwhile, sadly, scarily, 3 out of 10 Americans right now think that additional immigration is going to cause native presumably white Americans, to lose their economic and political power. 30% of the electorate. One reason is that irresponsible conservative pundits, like we just saw Tucker Carlson, keep repeating it to people. Even Texas Governor Greg Abbott of the said at the National Border Patrol Council accused President Biden of turning a blind eye to parents across America who are facing a nationwide baby formula shortage. Mm-hmm. He wrote, while mothers and fathers stare at empty grocery store shelves in panic, the Biden administration is happy to provide baby formula to illegal immigrants coming across our southern border. Except he forgot to say that the U.S. government has an obligation to feed somebody who they're detaining. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
You can't say detain the person and starve them to death. You don't want to give them free baby formula? Don't detain them.
Right.
Don't have detention. Get rid of the for-profit jails. Let's have immigration judges. It's all full circle. They say we should detain everybody, but then when we detain them, you should starve them to death.
It's sick.
And coronavirus is not going away. This is all the problems that Biden has.
Right.
All right, think about it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay. He's done a very good job, President Biden.
I think so.
I'll tell you where he did a good job. He has united the world against Russia. He has taken all of the democracies, Europe, Japan, South Korea, Australia, all of the major industrial democracies of the world, who, under Donald Trump, were at each other's throat. Okay? Putin didn't think that the democracies would come together. China was thrilled about Donald Trump. Russia was thrilled about Donald Trump. All the democracies fighting with each other, not agreeing to anything. He got the world to coalesce. Putin never thought this was going to happen.
Right.
And he did a great job doing it. And you want to know what also? He's in the process of saving Ukraine. He got the world united. And how many American soldiers have died so far?
Oh,
0.
Wow, that's true.
Okay. So from that perspective, he's done a great job.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to get credit for it because we have inflation,
Right.
baby formula problems. Okay. He's happy. Trust me, he's happy. I'm not happy. You're not happy.
No.
It's not good for America.
No.
He's happy politically that Title 42. He's got to be happy.
Yeah.
All right, because he can't have any more problems.
Right.
And of course, coronavirus, it's spreading like wildfire again. Philadelphia school district is now mask mandating children in schools again.
I found out like so many people end up getting coronavirus, COVID-19. I mean, this past weekend, and I had no idea that it was like coming right back.
And by the way, now the federal government is offering a third round of free COVID tests. All you have to do is go to www.covid.gov/tests, get your free test. And some good news is that Pfizer and Moderna just came out and they have tested for over a year their vaccine on children ages 6 months to 5 years. And there is no difference in outcomes for children who take the vaccine between 6 months and 5 years in adults, meaning that they have similar immunities and similar negative effects.
Okay.
So no more, no worse than an adult.
That's good.
So that's good. So now, some parents were very nervous with,
I would have been scared too.
My child can now feel comfortable between 6 months and 5 years of getting the COVID vaccine. All right, we have some fuzzy news, Jonathan.
Yes, let's get fuzzy.
Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, the man who put the fuzz in fuzzy. Let's do it. Well, Ukraine is in the news for fuzzy Monday, Jonathan. So some at least fuzzy news coming out of Ukraine amidst the ongoing war in Ukraine, which has displaced countless millions of people. Patron, the bomb-sniffing dog whose name actually means cartridge in Ukrainian, not tequila. When I first saw Patron, I'm like, oh, they named him after tequila.
I definitely thought.
But no, it means cartridge in Ukrainian. He was decorated this past Sunday at a news conference in Kiev by none other than President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the 2-year-old Jack Russell Terrier. We have a picture of the doggy. Is a mine-diffusing pyrotechnician, and he has disarmed over 260 Russian explosives. So he sniffs for the explosive, and then it gets disarmed.
Wow. Instead
of somebody inadvertently, after the war moves on from one town to the next, because war kind of moves around, people now start to go back to their towns, and then all of a sudden there's explosives in the ground. Jeez. Somebody takes a step, and they get blown up.
Yeah.
So now they bring in Patron, the bomb-sniffing dog, to sniff out these explosives and disarm them to make it safe for people to return to their towns, walk on the streets. He has already sniffed out 260 explosives. Yeah. In a video ceremony, it shows Zelenskyy shaking the hands of Liev, who is the dog handler, and presenting the medal. And Patron is there wagging his tail excitedly. Even Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who was in visiting Kiev, he was looking in his pocket for a dog treat, but couldn't find anything. And Zelenskyy says, "I want to reward those Ukrainian heroes who are already clearing our land of mines, and together with our heroes, a wonderful little sapper, Patron, who helps not only to neutralize explosives, but also to teach our children the necessary safety rules in areas where there is a mine threat." And it's also it's good for morale of people. It makes people feel good. And after the ceremony, Patron's handler wrote on his Instagram page that this day will be etched in my memory for a long time. Glory to Ukraine. And Patron, the bomb-sniffing dog, gained popularity in a series of viral videos that the Ukrainian government has published online. Most notable for the time Patron fell asleep at a table during a news conference. and basically sometimes, a simple thing like a dog jumping into service, it's just a big boost for morale for the population. Simple smiles and a little bit of laughter go a long way, in the middle of a large war. So that was nice.
That is.
Yes. And you hear this weird story? Julie and Jimmy Johnson, they were fast asleep in Tennessee. They owned 3 dogs.
Right.
And they must have left their door open at night. And they woke up in the morning and they felt a dog in their bed. And then when they opened their eyes, it wasn't one of their 3 dogs. It was a 4th dog. Yeah. And Julie, the wife, was completely confused. She said she's got 3 dogs, Hollis, Jupiter, and Zeppelin, but there was a 4th dog in their bed.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
And look at this dog. It is huge. It ain't like even a small dog. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. She says my husband went to kind of pull the blankets up a little bit, almost like they were going to protect him. And at that point, the dog even went further into our pillows and just wanted to snuggle with us. It was just 100% content.
Look at her face.
It was just 100% content, like snuggling between the pillows.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it didn't take much time after to realize the strange dog was not a threat. And they went online looking for the owner. And finally, they were able to find the owner. The owner was Chris Hawkins. And she wrote, "Our overly friendly pup, Nala, was hit an all-time record for ignoring personal space," and added yet another trick to her long list of Houdini acts. Shame on Nala for somehow breaking into a stranger's house, invading their personal space, getting into their bed, and snuggling with them.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God.
It's a cute dog too.
Yeah, but what would you do if you woke up? I would jump to the ceiling.
Yeah,
if I woke up and there was like some hairy dog next to me.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that they have 3 big dogs, you kind of like, they get it. But just out of nowhere, like a whole brand new dog is there. I don't know what the heck I would have done.
And scientists in Japan, I don't know if I believe this or not. I don't know if I believe this study.
What is it?
On April 13th, in a peer-reviewed journalist scientific report, the study examined 48 cats who either lived in households with at least 3 other cats or from cat cafes that cohabitated with a lot of cats. And what they said is that after studying all these cats know the names of their other cat friends. to test their name recognition. I don't know. We got to ask
I
Carol.
don't know.
I didn't see Carol the tiger in here.
Oh, yeah.
Carol would know the answer to this.
I don't know about this one.
To test their name recognition, the researchers showed each cat a computer monitor displaying a familiar cat's face and an audio recording. That's a cute cat. Of their owner calling either displayed cat's real name or a name that didn't match. And when they heard the name that didn't match the individual cat, then they started staring at the screen more. Wow. And when they heard the name of the cat, they looked away. How could they deduce then?
Right. Just because they look away?
They look away. Now, the researchers wrote only household cats anticipated a specific cat face upon hearing the cat's name, suggesting that they matched the stimulus cat's name and the specific individual. They theorized in the paper that this might be food-motivated behavior. They learned that when one cat is called, the other one gets food. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But if you want to believe the cats know their names, fine.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Right.
But I'm not a cat person, so like I don't really know too much about cats.
I'm not a cat person either, but I don't
like
believe the cats know cats' names.
Yeah.
Did someone just go meow to me in my ear?
You know, we have a couple cat lovers here in...
Someone just meowed in my ear.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, okay. Now, and finally, we go to elephants. There's an elephant in the room.
Oh,
Jonathan,
yeah.
and it's all the way in the Court of Appeals of the state of New York.
I heard about this.
Yes. And the animal in the case is an Asian elephant named Happy.
Who's not too happy.
Happy resides in the Bronx Zoo. And her advocates at the Non-Human Rights Project say Happy is an autonomous, cognitively complex elephant worthy of the rights of a human being. And through an attorney, the zoo argues Happy is neither imprisoned nor a person, but a well-cared-for elephant. They want Happy to be released.
Yeah.
They say Happy is in jail in the zoo.
Yeah.
They want her removed from her 1-acre prison. Now, project attorney Monica Miller told the Associated Press that Happy has an interest in exercising her choices and deciding who she wants to be with and where to go and what to do and what to eat. And the zoo is prohibiting her from making any of these choices. Now, Happy was born in the wild in Asia in the 1970s, but she got eventually captured and brought into the zoo. She lives, according to the Bronx Zoo, happily in an enclosure adjacent to the zoo's other elephant, Patty. And the zoo said in a prepared statement that the blatant exploitation of Happy the elephant by NRP to advance their coordinated agenda shows no concern for the individual animal and reveals the fact they are willing to sacrifice Happy's health and psychological well-being to set precedent. Now, this case is in the Court of Appeals on what's called the habeas corpus petition, which is Latin for bring the prisoner forward. Do you think an elephant is a prisoner?
Yes.
You do.
Elephants are so smart as well, and you've seen them in the wild. You see how they care for their kids and all that. Like, but what's the difference between Happy and like all the other elephants?
I'm not saying. Well, if they let Happy go, then they got to let
That's
all the
what
animals go. And then what about lawsuits against people who have dogs in their houses? Maybe they're
no.
Okay, maybe they're
different.
prisoners. No, it's not different.
How?
It's not. You're a prisoner in somebody's house. What's the difference? At least Happy has this huge enclosure to walk around. Sometimes dogs are imprisoned in a house.
No, but like Happy belongs in belongs in Asia.
I disagree completely. You want to argue that Happy shouldn't be imprisoned. To me, that's a decision for lawmakers to make. You know, lawmakers made this zoo. This is a public zoo. It's not for one judge to decide to release all the animals from a zoo.
A zoo is a prison for animals.
Well, I don't think that elephants are humans.
They have feelings, though.
I'm not saying they don't have feelings, and I'm not saying
they shouldn't have human rights.
They should have elephant rights, and that's only if our government wants to give them elephant rights.
I think they should.
That's a different story.
That is a different story.
That's my opinion.
Okay,
but
lawyer.
They don't have human rights. All right, we have some TikTok time here, Yo-Yo.
Okay, all right.
All right, and in this edition of TikTok time, I explain how long a person can leave the U.S. after receiving their green card. If you get your green card, let me specifically tell you how long you could leave the United States. 5 months, 30 days, 29 days. 5 months, 29 days. Take a day back. 5 months and 29 days. 1 day less than 6 months. You can leave. Come back. No problem. What you can't do is 5 months, 29 days, leave, come back for a week. 5 months, 29 days, leave, come back for a week. Eventually, they're going to stop you because you're not permanently living in the United States. So as long as your trip is less than 6 months, generally they're not going to ask you any questions about your re-entry. However, you need to ultimately be living in the United States more often than not. So at least 50% of your time over the course of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, over some period of time, 50% has to be in the United States. That's the answer. All right, we ready for some meat and potatoes?
Yeah.
We haven't had some meat and potatoes in a while. Everybody's on hold, locked and loaded. Let's do it, Ian. Okay, Nana, you're on. How can I help you?
Hello. I had an interview for a green card a month ago with my husband. We went. The interview went well. The interviewer said he would approve my husband's petition for me immediately. And for me, he said, because I'm not vaccinated, he would send me additional paper to fill out an application, and then he would approve my application.
To fill out an application or an application for a waiver?
Application for a waiver, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get approved. It is very rare that you will get a waiver approved for non-vaccination. But continue. You don't think that's going to happen automatically.
I have a note from
you can have all the notes you want. I'm just telling you what immigration does. So what's your question? What is your question?
What does my wife need to do? What do we need to do?
What do you need to do with what? He said he was going to send you a letter for a waiver.
To get this approved. To get this approved and to get a green card.
You went for an interview. You're not vaccinated. They approved your marriage. The immigration officer said that they're going to send you what's called an RFE or a NOID, a Notice of Intent to Deny, because you're not vaccinated, and that you would need to file a waiver, either based on religious objection or a medical certificate that you can't take a vaccination. Those are the only two things that you can do to avoid having to take the vaccination. Or you can go take a medical exam and take the vaccination and submit it. Those are your choices. You have to wait on the Notice of Intent to Deny. It sometimes takes up to 120 days to get. Then you have a choice of either doing the vaccination, taking a medical exam and submitting it, or requesting a waiver and then waiting to determine whether the waiver would be approved or not. But you got to wait the 120 days.
If I submit this I-601 form and they deny it, what will happen next?
You'll be denied, and you got to either refile again or don't get a green card or get vaccinated.
Okay, so if it gets denied, then if I get vaccinated, I don't need to refile. If I get vaccinated,
well, you can get vaccinated and try to do a motion to reopen, but either way, it's going to be time and money.
So refiling, you mean I would have to refile the whole case and wait for an interview again?
Yes. They take vaccinations very seriously.
Even if I get vaccinated right now, I would still need to do that?
No. If you get vaccinated now, what I just told you is you are going to get what's called a Notice of Intent to Deny. They approved your marriage. They believe this is a bona fide marriage. This is what you told me. But you're not vaccinated, so you don't have the proper medical examination to get approved for your adjustment. You have two choices. Submit the proper medical, which is start the vaccination process, or apply for a waiver based on religious objection or that you have some medical issue that you can't be vaccinated. But those are very hard to get approved. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just telling you, if I had to make a bet, you get denied, not approved on those things, unless you have a real serious medical issue or you can really demonstrate some, religious issue that your religion forbids you from getting vaccinated. But short of that, those are your choices. So, it's one or the other. You can try the waiver. The waiver costs money, and then the waiver's time. And who knows, as I said, my opinion is you'd probably be denied, but maybe you have a good religious reason, or maybe you have a good medical reason, then I would be wrong. Or alternatively, go back to the immigration doctor, start the process of getting vaccinated, get a completed medical that you are vaccinated, and wait for the notice of intent to deny and respond to it with, I decided to get vaccinated, here I am.
Mm-hmm. And once I submit the 601 form, it takes 120 days, as you said, to get a response, right?
No, it could take a year. There's no time frame.
Oh, there is no time.
No, I said you should get a notice of intent to deny within 120 days, and then you can either submit the medical or submit a waiver. But sometimes waivers take weeks, sometimes months, sometimes over a year.
Yeah, no, I did receive a letter. It's not a denial letter. It just says they need additional evidence.
Right, it's either an RFE, it's called an RFE, a request for more evidence, or a notice of intent to deny. It's one or the other. And you respond to that.
It's a request for evidence.
Okay, so a request for evidence. So they're either asking for a waiver or a medical. It's one or the other. I'm sure that's what they're asking.
Yeah, they're asking for Form I-601, application for waiver of grounds of inadmissibility.
That's the waiver.
And they also say that I must include a brief affidavit from a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident indicated what extreme hardship he or she will suffer should you be removed from the United States.
That has nothing to do with it. That's boilerplate. It has nothing to do with that.
So I don't need to submit this affidavit from my husband?
No, it has nothing to do with hardship waiver. It has to do with what is your religious objection or what is your medical issue that you are requesting this waiver for the vaccination.
Okay, yeah, that was confusing too for me.
That's just extra boilerplate that they put in that has nothing to do with anything.
All right, thank you so much for your...
Okay.
Oh, thanks.
All right, let's go to Keith in Leesburg, Florida. Hi, Keith.
Well,
hi, Keith.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, what's going on?
Okay, actually, this is Keith's wife.
Okay.
So I went into the my tax guy trying to get my taxes amended, and they're telling me I need the ITIN. In order for them to do that, because it's asking for that.
I don't understand. You want to amend your taxes. You're married. You want to file a joint tax return with your spouse who does not have a social security number. Is that what you're asking?
He is undocumented, and I was told to try to get an ITIN. Now, my tax guy is telling me he cannot amend the taxes without the ITIN.
Yeah, you file a W-7 with the amended tax return.
But I still need the ITIN.
The W-7 is the application for the ITIN. You tell your tax person, here's a W-7 form, print it out, go to Google, amend the taxes, attach a W-7. If he doesn't know what to do, you're with the wrong tax person. Simple. I know what to do, and I'm not even a tax person.
Right. Because what I also did, I even went into IRS.
I just told you don't have to go into anywhere. I just told you exactly what to do. You fill out a W-7 form. The W-7 form is an application for a TIN number. You attach that to your tax return or your amended tax return. And the tax return gets filed, and he gets a tax ID number.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Let's go to Ona in Rockville, Maryland.
Hi, Brad.
Good. How are you? How you doing?
I'm fine. So my mother filed for my brother, and they said his age paper is too new. So what can she do?
Wait, what is what?
My mother filed for my brother.
Your mother filed for your brother, and I didn't hear what the rest was.
They said his age paper is too new.
His what is too new?
His birth certificate is too new.
His birth certificate is too new. Where's he from?
Yeah. Jamaica.
What do you mean it's too new? I don't understand what that means.
That's what she told me. That's why I'm calling to ask her.
Well, is it the long form? You have a long form birth certificate from Jamaica?
Yes, and they said she had to write a letter.
Who told you that it's too new?
My mother told me that she got a letter from IRS, from immigration, and they said that.
I would need to see what they're saying, because as long as you submitted a long form Jamaican birth certificate unless the birth was registered years later. Is that what they're saying?
No, I don't
Because,
think that's what
because if they're
saying.
saying the birth was registered years later, meaning your brother was born, but they never brought him to the authorities and said, oh, by the way, this is my baby. It's now 7 years old. I want to apply for a birth certificate. If they never acknowledged this child till years later, that's a late registration of a birth. That could be an issue. But I never heard of a birth certificate that was too new. You lost your birth certificate, you got another one. It was just issued just now, but it's based on information that was given at the time of the birth.
They want letters from people that know her and know him.
Okay, it sounds to me that she registered the birth late. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, but
Yeah, they said
it sounds like they registered
letter.
the birth late, so there's no evidence. If you register a birth late and it's years later, and now all of a sudden you just show up at the authorities and say, here's my baby, it's 5 years old. I never mentioned him to you before. Now I am. I want a birth certificate. They don't know that this is the mother. Maybe they don't know anything, but so that could be the issue. All right, so then you have to prove that she is the biological mother with affidavits and a blood test. Hold on, that's probably what it is. Hold on. Let's go to Sherrington in Clearwater, Florida.
Hello, Brad. Good
Hi,
evening.
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So I have a question.
Yeah.
So my wife is a U.S. citizen. Actually, that's my
What?
ex-wife. My ex-wife
Yes.
is a U.S. citizen, and she and I were married for 4.5 years.
Right.
And the marriage didn't work out, and she filed divorce.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she filed divorce, and then she engaged with someone else. I want to know, my main question is, can I marry someone, and if I marry someone, can I file for that person
Sure.
from a different country?
Sure. You're allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, and fall in love.
I have to do what?
You're allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, and fall in love, and sponsor multiple people that you're in love with.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, because I asked this question because I heard some guy call the other day and say he got his green card through power, and you said if he had married someone and he just want to know.
When did you get your green card? How long ago? Maybe I misunderstood.
Oh, I got my green card 2018.
Okay, and you're not a citizen yet.
No, but I'm filing for citizen in October.
Okay, yeah, you can get married now. You just can't file for your next spouse until the 5-year anniversary of you having a green card or until you're a citizen.
Okay.
So that's the answer to that. I misunderstood that first portion.
Okay, so within 5 years after getting the green card or becoming a citizen, it's okay.
Yes. So at the 5, you can get married now, but you can't put in the papers for your spouse until 5 years and 1 day of you having a green card or until you're a citizen, which either happens first.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thanks.
Let's go to Jennifer in New Orleans.
Hello.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
My question is, I came to the States back in 2009. I entered with a B1, B2 visa. But 2 months later, my passport got stolen, and I made a police report. 5 years ago, I married a U.S. citizen, and I'm ready to do my green card. But I don't have my documents.
Well, you could always always apply for a replacement I-94. You can go online, just Google Department of Homeland Security I-94, and the DHS website will come up, and you can print out that information there. Sometimes you can do a USCIS FOIA, you can do a Customs and Border Patrol FOIA. There's records that you made a legal entry into the U.S. You just got to get your hands on them.
Okay, so I can start with just with the I-94 copy.
Yes,
that's all I need.
Correct.
Okay. Another thing. So I overstay more than 10 years. Do I have to apply for something? Any form?
No, you're married to a U.S. citizen. You made a legal entry into the U.S. You're just going to file a regular adjustment application.
Okay, what are the forms I need to submit?
An I-45, an I-130, an I-130A, an I-864, an I-765 for your work permit, an I-131 for your travel document.
Okay, can I submit all that together?
Yes, one time.
After?
No, one
after
time. Do it all one time.
Also with the I-94 form, the copy form?
The copy of the I-94, proof you're in a legal marriage. All those forms together.
Yeah, all that together.
And one filing fee of $1,760.
Okay. Another thing, my husband and my kids are receiving food stamps. Is it a problem for me?
Your kids receiving food stamps is a problem. Is not a problem. Your husband receiving food stamps, you should get off it. And you'll probably need a second affidavit of support from somebody else then, because he can't support you.
Yeah, we are under the poverty guideline.
Yeah,
so how many affidavits can I get?
One additional one.
Okay, perfect.
All right. But your kids can take it, but not your husband.
Okay, so he should be out of
Yes, he's off.
the food stamps.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That will be all. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Let's go to Sally in New York. Sally.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
What's going on?
Brad, I have 3 questions. First, my brother was here in 2003. He came as a fiancé visa. He got married. And in 2000, he applied for U.S. citizenship in 2008, and he was denied because the wife was under the poverty line. So the wife decided to send him back to the Philippines because she don't want him to be
He didn't apply for
overstayed in
citizenship. He
U.S.
applied for his green card, you mean?
So no, U.S. citizen.
No, you don't. There's no poverty guideline for U.S. citizen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
His green card.
Green card.
Yes,
green
right,
card,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the wife sent him home?
Yeah, he sent him to the Philippines. He is now, I think, 14 years in Philippines.
Okay.
He tried to get tourist visa. I think the last tourist visa he tried was 3 years ago, and he was denied. Now I'm going to get married in September, and I would like my sibling to join me here. So can he apply a tourist visa?
You can always try. Everyone can apply for a tourist visa. It's just
but with his case that he went home, he was denied for green card.
The fact that he went home is good evidence that he didn't intend to remain in the United States of America. It depends on what ties he has now to the Philippines. Does he have a good paying job? Does he have family that he will be returning to? Property that he'll be returning to?
Oh yes. And
yes, by all means, try. Also. Nothing bad will happen. Put your best foot forward.
So he don't need to apply to any form for adjustment. Nothing.
No, just apply for a tourist visa. That's what you want him to come for.
Tourist visa.
That's it.
So he can try.
Absolutely.
So
everyone should try for a tourist visa. The worst they'll say is no.
It will not affect his, that he was married here.
Well, he was married and he went home, so that's good evidence that he didn't intend to live here.
Good. And then, so he can apply. Now, my older sister, for last 15 years, we tried to apply tourist visa for her, and she was denied for 5 times. But we don't give up.
Keep going. I can't tell you what will happen.
As long as you have money to pay the visa fees, right?
Try.
Now, I have my younger brother. He never been here. First time he will apply. My father just had a major surgery, throat cancer last week.
It's not the reason why you're coming. It's what are the reasons you're going to go home?
Wait, I would love them all to come and join me on my wedding.
I would love for them to come too, but the bottom line is getting a tourist visa. Listen to me. Getting a tourist visa. You're asking me about tourist visas for your whole entire family. Getting a tourist visa, you have to show you are really 3 things you got to prove. 1, you're really a tourist. 2, you have enough money to support yourself on your tourist trip to the United States without taking a job. And that you have a return plane ticket. And you have an itinerary of what you're doing and where you're going. That's why everybody says, oh, I'll send an invitation letter. The invitation letter is just basically your itinerary. What are you doing? Okay? What are you doing here? Where are you staying? Sometimes you don't need an invitation letter. Sometimes I have a hotel room for 2 weeks. Okay, now here's my return plane ticket. And lastly, these are the reasons I'm going to go home. I got my job, my family, my home, whatever you got. And you go for it.
Yeah, and
that's the best I can tell you.
Yeah, and my parents both are aging and cannot walk and just had surgery.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I'm not the embassy. I just told you what to do, but it's up to them.
Okay.
All right.
So he is welcome to apply, all of them.
All of them, yes.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you. Again. Thank you. God bless.
All right. She's arguing out why the brother should get a visa. I'm not the embassy. I just told you what to do, though. Lee in Columbus. Hi, Lee. Lee in Columbus. Going once. How are you, Lee?
Yeah, hi, Brad. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay. Yeah, my question is I filed for 485 and it got denied because of 864, some fraud documentation.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and filed for 290B, and I waited for 5-6 months. I did not see any response.
You got denied for fraud, and why did you file a motion to reopen?
Yes.
Was it fraud, or you just didn't do
attorney...
the affidavit of support right? Those are two different things.
Yeah, affidavit of support, right? So she, submitted some fraudulent things. I don't know what does that fraudulent mean, but it was denied because of that reason.
All right, so you're not doing if you did a motion to reopen, and you're sitting here telling me you don't know what the fraudulent thing was, and you just made a motion to reopen, I can already tell you're getting denied. How do you make a motion to reopen and not even know what your fraud was? Because you have to admit to your fraud and then do a waiver.
Okay,
I don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah, we filed for 290B, but there was no response. So what my attorney did was
But you don't even know what you're doing. What was the fraud?
Yeah, he filed for...
You haven't even told me what the fraud is. So why are you... What are you... A motion to reopen is like an appeal to the same person. You're appealing to them and saying, reopen my case. I made an error. I did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. And if it's a misrepresentation, here's my waiver. But if you're sitting here saying to me, you don't even know what the fraud was, it was just some sort of fraud, then how do you make a motion? How do you even say you did anything wrong? You don't even know what's going on. What was the fraud?
My case was actually based on VAWA, so my VAWA got approved.
What was the fraud?
My wife, right, she gave 864 affidavit of support. When we initially filed for 485, she gave 864 affidavit of support. That was when I went for the interview. They
what
said,
was the fraud?
It was a false documentation.
You gave false documentation or affidavit of support.
Yes.
Okay, so they denied your adjustment of status. You need to file a waiver.
Okay. Yeah, let me explain you. So what I did was we filed for 290B. We did not receive any response. So what my attorney did was he filed for 485 and 601 again. Okay. So right now the current status shows as my fingerprints were taken for 485, but for 601 there will be fingerprints or there won't be any fingerprints.
Why are you even calling me? What is your question? You want to know if you're going to get fingerprinted?
Yeah, for 601, they will call you.
They have your fingerprints. If you took your biometrics, they have your fingerprints. They don't need them again. If that's your question.
But in the status, right, I only see for 485, but not for 601. So, especially
I don't know what your lawyer's doing. You don't know what your lawyer's doing. You need a consultation. Hold on. You're a mess. Let's go to Enrique in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hi, good evening. My name is Enrique. Actually, I have a question.
What?
My question are two questions. One is, I came to the United States. My birth certificate has somebody else as my father. It has been that way.
Why does your birth certificate have someone else as your father?
I don't know. That's the way it is. I guess my uncle or my mother.
You got a visitor's visa? You got a visitor's visa?
No, I'm now an American citizen.
Oh, okay.
Then I found my biological father, so I want to file for him. So what do I do? But my birth certificate doesn't have him as my father.
How old are you now?
I'm 44.
You can't file for him.
I can't file for my father?
No, you can't.
But my birth certificate doesn't show that he's my father.
You can't file. Let me explain to you why. Let's assume it was one big mistake, and the government really believes this was a complete error. You had no idea. Okay? You didn't commit any fraud. There was no misrepresentation. You skated through the whole thing, became a citizen, and it was just one big error, which I don't even know if they'll believe that, but let's assume they do. Okay?
Okay.
Your father, I assume, was never married to your mother. Right?
Pardon? I didn't get what you said.
Your father, your biological father, your true biological father was never married to your true biological mother.
No.
Okay. So let's say you file for your father now. And you say, I just discovered he's my father. I want to file for him. I'll even take a blood test and prove he's my father. And there was just one big colossal error on my birth certificate, and we just discovered all of this.
Okay.
Problem is, when you go to file for your biological father, who was never married to your biological mother, as part of the case, you have to be able to prove that you had a father-child relationship with this man from birth to 18.
Yes, I did.
You didn't. You just
No,
told
I
me you
did.
discovered he's your father.
Yes, okay. I know him.
Then you're a
all my life.
liar. I'm putting point blank. Then you are a liar.
Okay.
You became a citizen making a claim that someone else, you got your visa claiming somebody else was your father when you knew who your real father was. Then you're a liar. Now you're getting denaturalized.
Okay.
It's one or the other.
Okay. So what happened was my mother died. After she died, my aunt told me that the person I called my father is not my father. Whereas
you had no relationship with your body. You knew a man, but it was not a parent-child relationship. Or you knew this man had a parent-child relationship and lied to the government and became a citizen. Pick your poison.
Okay.
Pick your poison.
So I can't file for him.
Pick your poison. You want to get denaturalized? You want to get your father denied? Pick your poison.
Okay. Okay. So my second, thank you so much. My second question is somebody that got married and for some reason when he was married with somebody else, he impregnated another lady. So along the line, they had a problem and they got divorced. So he went ahead and married the lady that he impregnated, and they have 4 kids now. So, and he filed, they denied him based on the initial marriage. They said it was a fraud. So what can he do to, and he has 4 children now. He still doesn't have any.
He has to prove that the first marriage was real. I don't know, a lot of fraud going on in your questions. But if you commit if the government believes that your first marriage was a fraud, it's called the 204C finding, that you committed marriage fraud, the only way to overcome it is prove the government's wrong.
Oh, okay.
You need a good lawyer for that. If it was in fact a real marriage. If it was a fraud marriage, you can't prove what's not real was real. But if it was a real marriage, you can try to prove the truth.
It was real, but he was cheating.
Then you can prove the truth. If it was real, then you can prove the truth. I've done it before.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brad.
You're welcome. All right, Enrique. Sharda in Huntington, Virginia. Hi, Sharda. Sharda. Going once, Sharda. Going twice. All right, let's see if we can get Sharda back. Let's go to Grace in Queens. Grace.
Hi, good evening, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm calling because my mom filed for my brother. He's grown 55. In about 2013, we got a letter stating that it was approved and they have received everything, not to do anything. But he's now on a visiting visa and he's planning not to go back. My question is, can he pick up his paper here or does he have to pick it up in Jamaica?
All right. Question for you. What is the exact priority date for your brother?
The priority date was, I think, October of 2013.
All right, I got to look up.
Yeah, 2013.
All right. They're not up to 2013 yet. So where they're up to right now is 2007.
2007?
Yeah. So if your brother were to stay here, he'd be undocumented for at least 5 or 6 years, maybe longer, and then would be ineligible to adjust his status because he's out of status. So that's not a good plan.
So if he stays and stay out of status, it wouldn't make any sense, in other words.
Well, he's not getting his green card through this petition anymore, that's for sure.
Okay, because you wouldn't be able to pick it up here.
Right. You'd just be undocumented forever.
Because the paper would send back to Jamaica.
Right.
And you would not be there.
Correct. And if he went home, he'd have a 10-year bar.
Right, if you go home after.
Correct.
All this time. Oh, boy.
He needs a consultation. That's what he needs.
Yeah, because that's what I'm looking into.
Right. Hold on one second. All right. Mo in Dallas. Mo.
Hey, Bert.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Right. Hey, question, right? I filed for my citizenship, right? I had an interview that was like 3 weeks ago, right? So during the interview, the officer asked about like a question that I was arrested like back in 2012 in New York, right, for jumping on a train station.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a ticket that day.
Okay.
And I
That
went
shouldn't
to the
prevent you
court.
from becoming a citizen.
Say it again?
That will not prevent you from becoming a citizen.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, because it was more than 5 years ago, and it's a petty offense or it's a violation, one or the other. Either way, it's not preventing you from becoming a citizen.
Okay, because they asked, I mean, during the interview...
Just tell the truth, bring in the ticket. If that's your only issue, you're fine.
But during the interview, she gave me a continuance, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Letter.
Bring in the disposition. If that's your only issue, tell the truth. If that's your only issue, you will become a citizen.
Yeah, I applied to New York to get the disposition. It shows dismiss and fill.
You will become a citizen.
Okay.
If you're not a citizen in 120 days, call me.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Let's go to Ken in Brooklyn.
Hello.
Hi, Ken.
Yeah, Mr. Brown. Good evening, Mr. Brown.
Good evening. How are you?
You're good. I applied for my I-175. It's been 16 months now. I tried to make inquiry to find out what is the status. They emailed me and said that my security check has not been completed. My question is that how long will it take for them to complete my security check?
It's about 24 months right now.
Huh?
It's 24 months I-751s are taking.
But I make inquiry. They told me that I have a pending security check. How long are they going to complete the security check?
And I have just told you that it's taking 2 years. You're 16 months, so another 8 months at least.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hang in there.
Yeah.
All right. Security checks is they're just backed up. They use security checks for everything. Kia in Vancouver, Canada.
Hello, Brad. How you doing?
Good. How you?
Not too bad, thank you. I love your show, man.
Thank you. What's going on?
I have a couple of questions. I'm going to try to be fast. So we are a family of 3. My daughter is 3 years old, and we live in Vancouver, Canada.
Right.
My wife is a green card holder, and she has already submitted the form I-130 for me and my daughter separately more than a year ago.
Okay.
And the question is, we're planning to move to Washington State now and basically fill the form I-485 for adjustment of status. Will this affect my and my daughter's case in a bad way?
Yes. A couple things.
Yeah.
Right now, priority dates are current for F2A. Your daughter's in F2A, you're in F2A. What you can't do is you can't come to the United States for purposes of adjusting your status. That's a misrepresentation. What you can do is come visit. You're a Canadian citizen. You can come visit the United States. And if more than 90 days passes, you're allowed to change your mind and then adjust your status. As long as you file the adjustment within 6 months of your entry into the United States of America.
But after 90 days.
So if you come with the intention of getting your green card, problem. If you file your adjustment on day 91 and before day 180, no problem. Because then the law presumes you changed your mind.
Okay. And does my daughter or me, do we need to cross the border every 6 months?
No.
Okay.
If you come to visit, you're coming to visit. Read between the lines. I can't say it any more clearer or between the lines.
Okay.
You come for 90 days on between 91 and 180, the law presumes you change your mind. If you leave the United States with a pending adjustment of status, you can't return. Ever.
Okay.
Unless you leave with advance parole.
Okay.
So you only leave with a travel document. Other than that, you wait right in the United States for your green card.
Okay. So my last question. Last month I was arrested and charged with domestic assault. I had my fingerprints taken at the police station and my case is still pending. My lawyer believes that I won't get any conviction, but I will be signing a peace bond, something like, diversion program type thing, what you have in the United States, with no criminal record, since the Crown has very weak case and there's no evidence of any assault. Will this prevent me from getting green card?
If you're found guilty of domestic violence, it will. If you're arrested and the case is dismissed, you still have to prove good moral character. But as I've said many, many times, you're allowed to have a bad night.
Okay, what if my case is still pending and they call me for an interview?
If your case is pending, then they will never give you a green card with a pending criminal case.
Okay.
So my advice is before you file anything, and make sure it's dismissed.
Okay. And diversion program is bad, basically, if I get
I don't
into
know
a diversion?
Canadian penal law, so I would have to look it up.
So it's not a criminal. It's not a conviction.
If you don't have a conviction, you don't have a conviction. That's the best I can tell you.
Okay, got you. God bless you, Brad.
All right, thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Okay, be well. All right. Mr. Singh in Fresno.
Oh, hello, sir. Thank
how are
you
you?
so much for answering my call. Good, sir. I have a quick question for you guys. I was here like more than 10 years. I applied my citizenship last year, 2021. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, so I applied my citizenship last year, 2021, and in the meantime, I got charged for the criminal case for felony, and then my interview date comes for this year, 2022, March 21. I missed that.
Why were you charged for a felony?
It's gonna be for sexual battery.
You're not going to become a citizen with that pending charge.
I know. I missed the. My appointment date coming for March 21. My attorney told me we don't have to go because if we go, they give us the citizen and.
You're not going to become a citizen with that charge. What was the end result of the case?
Maybe.
It's still pending?
Pending, yeah.
Okay, so why are you calling me? Call me when you're going to plead guilty to something, and I'll tell you how it'll affect your case.
Why I call you? Because I missed my interview.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to become a citizen with that pending charge.
So, I got to the point. My question
is... You will not. If you are charged with sexual that's like rape. Why do you think they're going to make you a citizen? In a million years, they would never do that. What do you care you missed your appointment? You're not going to get a citizenship anyway. When and if you plead guilty, you call me and I'll tell you what the immigration consequences are. If you're found innocent, fabulous. And maybe you can discuss becoming a citizen 5 years later. You're charged with a serious crime. You're worried about missing your citizenship. You ain't becoming a citizen for a long time. Hold on. Can't even talk to you. All right. Guy, sexual battery. It's rape. Because battery is actual physical. Yeah. He's worried about his citizenship. Should be worried about whether he gets to live in America anymore. All right, by the way, where am I at now?
Got you all discombobulated, huh?
Yeah. By the way, if you didn't, I lost my train of thought. By the way, if you didn't get your immigration questions asked and answered, you could always follow me on Instagram at @RealBradBernstein. You could drop me a DM, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. You can also follow us at Bradshaw Live if you can't handle 2 hours of me and these callers, because it's not just me and Yo-Yo anymore. It's me, Yo-Yo, and the callers. You can't handle it? Then just follow us on Instagram at Bradshaw Live. You can also ask a question in the comment section on Bradshaw Live TikTok, our fastest growing media platform, and maybe you'll be lucky enough for me to have a personalized video to you for the entire world to see.
And you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And later in the show, Jonathan will be speaking with Hector Rodriguez, a teacher and artist who created El Paso Peso Hero, comic book series about a Mexican-American superhero who fights crime and injustice at the United States southern border, and who in the latest issue travels to Ukraine to assist refugees in the midst of a Russian invasion. The story is available for free download with a link encouraging people to donate to UNICEF.
All right, squad. So now we have another edition of Brad Show Live Pop Quiz or Pop-Up Quiz. And you guys love this because I always see your answers. So I definitely want to see you guys pay attention to what Brad knows. And we want to see if you guys know the answers to these immigration questions. So let us know in the comments. We're going to be checking, all right? What type of visa do you file when you come into the United States as a student? Is it A, B1, B, F1, C, J1, or D, M1? F1. So the F1 visa is a U.S. student visa, and that's given to international students who want to attend educational institutions in the United States.
All right, we're ready for social media check-in. Let's do it, Yo-Yo.
We are. What's up, y'all?
What am I doing, Yo-Yo?
Dancing.
Am I dancing?
You like that song? Dun, 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 dun.
I didn't know the camera was coming on me.
Now you guys see what I deal with him dancing every single time the camera is off of him. All right, guys.
Dancing lawyer, right?
Yeah, the dancing lawyer.
Yeah, all right.
All right, we got Bad Gal Thompson on Facebook. If you get your social security number via asylum, can you work in any state with it, or do you have to work in the state that's on your asylum case?
You can do it in all 50 states. Go work.
Maureen McFarland on Facebook. I have a U.S. citizen friend that wants to know if she can file for her mother who is here on a visitor's visa, visiting visa. They gave her 6 months in the country. If your answer is yes, should she put in the paperwork before the time they gave her to stay or after the time's up that they gave her?
If she's a U.S. citizen, over 21, and the mother came here on a visitor's visa, anytime after 91 days, you can put in an adjustment.
Deep Gill on Facebook. My wife was told that her B1, B2 visa has been approved at the interview counter on May 19th. Now it's showing under administrative processing when I check online. Is the process of printing a visa and stamping it on a passport considered under administrative processing as well, because the VO said her visa is approved and she'll get her passport in about 2 weeks?
It could be considered that, or maybe they figured out an issue after the fact. It could be one or the other.
Zin on YouTube. How long does it take a VAWA case after filing the I-485? What's the next steps after fingerprints were taken in the I-485 application through the VAWA case?
You got to wait for the VAWA to be approved, and once the VAWA is approved, then you'll get an interview for your adjustment of status.
George or Jorge Langa on YouTube. How long until I receive my interview notice after receiving a work permit? My wife is a U.S. citizen and she is my sponsor.
It's about 12 to 15 months from the time of filing. It's not about from your work permit. Go back to the time you filed, 12 to 15 months.
29 Super C on YouTube. How long after USCIS approves your green card will they mail your card to the address given?
I've seen it come as quickly as 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, Bennett Candy on Facebook. How can someone that has a B1, B2 apply for a working visa?
Go speak to a lawyer.
Marez Muhammad El Amin on YouTube. I had my 485 green card interview based on marriage 10 months ago and I didn't get any response. I already did 3 service requests and I still didn't get anything. What do I have to do now?
Wait for a Stokes interview. They didn't believe it was a real marriage. You're going to get separated.
Keisha Ever Bless Kelly on Facebook. What do I need to know about employer-sponsored green cards?
A lot and too much for me to describe right now. You need a consultation.
Frida Conadu. Yeah,
what do I need to know? There's books about it.
I already knew that was going to be the answer too. Frida Conado on YouTube.
That was probably the most open-ended question I've heard in a long time, and I've heard a lot of them.
You should have had like the books just
yeah.
Let's see.
Yes, page 1.
Yeah. All right, Frida on YouTube. I got a social security number at the age of 7 years and it's stated not valid for employment. and I moved back to Ghana at 9 years old. Since then, I've not gone back. I'm now 34 years old. How can I get a visa to the U.S.?
I don't know why you got a social security number, how you were out of status. Take that book out again.
Yeah.
She needs a consultation.
Yeah. Okay. And last one, Umagu Omugabi in Samba on YouTube. USCIS wrote that the I-158 decision will be mailed to me, but I had already asked to withdraw it. I got the I-797 for the 130, 485, and 765.
Even if you withdraw your adjustment, you're still going to get a decision denying it. Just doesn't disappear. You're still going to get a denial.
Okay.
All right. So Hector Rodriguez is a teacher and an artist, and the creator of El Paso Hero, a Mexican-American superhero who helps fight crime and corruption at the southern border. In the most recent edition, El Paso Hero travels to Ukraine in the midst of a Russian invasion of the country and helps to rescue Ukrainian refugees. The comic is available for free download with a link encouraging people to donate to UNICEF. Jonathan spoke to Hector about the character in the series and Hector's own experience as a 10th generation Texan and Mexican-American. Let's watch.
Hey, Brad Squad. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias here. Today, I'm with Hector Rodriguez, an educator, artist, and 10th generation Texan. His comic book series, El Paso Hero, tells the story of a rogue Mexican-American superhero who stands up against cartels, corrupt officials, and human traffickers at the U.S.-Mexico border. Addressing modern social issues such as immigration, human trafficking, and border corruption, El Paso Hero has garnered attention and praise from the Latino community and been featured on Univision, CNN, Telemundo, and countless other media sites worldwide. In the latest edition, El Paso Hero travels to Ukraine to search for a missing Mexican Red Cross member and to protect refugees in the midst of the Russian invasion. Hector, I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, great honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So first of all, tell me about El Paso Hero.
Yes. Well, El Paso Hero is about a vigilante Mexican-American hero in the border of Texas and Mexico. And it's a hero that inspires hope. It's a hero that walks the fine line of the more ambiguity, especially when it concerning immigration law or the law that is faced currently. And it deals with a lot of human issues, especially concerning, of course, crime, corruption, and the very sensitive nature of immigration. I've been doing El Paso Hero for over 10 years now.
Wow. So how'd you actually come up with the idea?
Well, it came from an idea of wanting a hero that really spoke to my personal culture, my language, ate the same foods that I ate. When was the last time you saw Batman eat empanadas, pozole, a reflection of the border culture and specifically between Texas and Mexico. I grew up in the border in Eagle Pass in the sister city of Piedras Negras. And so those border cities, it's a cross-cultural bridge, history, language, culture. And so I really wanted to reflect that into a comic book. And so I felt the urge to create my own. I was not going to wait for anybody else to create my Latino hero. And I put pen to pencil and I started going at it.
So why did you see the need to tell this story?
I had the privilege of growing up in a world where I was exposed to a lot of Mexican cinema, lucha libre. And so, I had larger than life figures, and at the same time, I read a lot of comic books, American comics as well. Mm-hmm. And one comic book in particular that I really enjoyed in the early 90s was Spawn. Top my problem Spawn just because it was really cool, amazing having a African-American hero, Al Simmons in the front center of this world. And for me, I was like, wow, I wish I had a Latino, Mexican-American hero that really reflected my culture, my world, that I saw myself in their shoes. And so, and the thing about comics is that majority of the comic book industry, the protagonists are of Caucasian culture. It's gotten better now. Yeah, I can say, for over the past 20 years, it's definitely gotten better now, but we still have long ways to go.
For sure. So now you're also a teacher, correct?
Correct. Yes, I'm an educator for about 12 years in the Dallas area. Focusing on bilingual education, and so I definitely draw a lot of experiences. It's really important to have a pulse in your community too. It keeps you grounded, it keeps you humble, and for me, being a teacher is it's a superpower. Being there for the upcoming generation, and as well as making sure that their stories are being told.
Do you actually teach comics or graphic novels in the classroom?
I've used comic books and graphic novels as teaching tools. I've taught grades from 1st to 5th grade, elementary. And so there's different ways. There's a lot of great resources to use comic books, to use graphic novels, to betterment and definitely hook young readers and create the upcoming wave of writers and artists.
Let's talk about you being the co-founder of Texas Latino Comic Con. That's pretty awesome.
It is. It's been a great journey, especially in the past 2 years. Our convention has been virtual, and so we really hope to go back in person later this year. And so we've done Texas Latino Comic Con for about 5 years now. And it really was a response towards our community to have that inclusive environment for upcoming creators, in this case of a Latinx background, to have a voice, regardless of where they come from, especially with these big conventions, these corporate conventions that do require a lot of funding for you to have a table. There's a paywall for a lot of members in the community to attend. So in this case, Texas Latino Comic Con has always been free. It will continue to be free.
Nice.
And as well as we try to really have a diverse voice of different backgrounds of Afro-Latinos, Latinx, LGBTQ plus community being involved. It's really important for us to have that diverse reflection of ourselves in the books we read.
What really draws you to the comic book culture, and why do you feel it's so important?
Comics have always been part of our world, especially if we look at the Latino history, especially with the ancient Aztec codex, very pictorial, visual, especially going back for the early humans where they use the visual narrative to tell their own stories. And so it's such a powerful tool because you can put yourself in someone else's shoes visually, and you can tell a lot of story with a small panel. And not also that, but our comic books have always drawn from our own social experiences. That's the soul of the comic book. That's the messaging. That's the inherent reflectness of our world through those pages. So it's such a powerful visual narrative that all walks of life can really connect.
So one thing I definitely loved was when I saw El Peso Hero becoming a real cross-border superhero back in 2015 when he took on then presidential candidate Donald Trump. That was awesome. Tell us about that.
We've never taken political stance. We've had fans from both sides of the political aisle. And our stories have always been a reflection of the border environment, regardless of the situation. We were talking about, I was writing about detention facilities when Obama was president and being critical on his immigration policies. And so regardless of our political institution, we always are telling what was right for our community. In this case, we needed to take a stance against the negativity, the toxicness of the up and coming political candidate. And I felt that it was important to pay an homage to Jack Kirby's Captain America punching Hitler in 1942.
Yeah.
And so seeing these Jack Kirby's own experiences against authoritarianism. Also, we were pretty critical in the detention facility, especially how they've taken a really sinister tone when, the separation of children from their families. Also, during COVID, we felt it was very important to stand up for our essential workers. So in 2020, we released a special book called El Peso Hero, The Essentials, where we talked about the importance of protecting our frontline workers, our essential workers, our farm workers that have been unprotected. And in this case, El Peso Hero takes a backseat to a real superhero, and it's a nurse, while she's distributing masks to our farm workers, the backbone of our food supply. El Peso Hero, the biggest thing he does, he pushes a truck that runs out of gas carrying supplies. So that's it. And currently, we felt it was important to take a global stance against the current situation in Ukraine.
I love that. Awesome. Now, why did you decide to make the issue free?
This extreme violence, war, I felt that I need to take a stance against war. I felt that as a Latino superheroes that we do need to go on to the global stage, that if Superman and Spider-Man are jumping around the world saving different folks, I think that we as Latinos, as minorities with superheroes, that we do have the right to stand up for other people, not just our own.
Yeah, and I love that you suggest people to donate instead, correct?
Yes, 100%. And so that's why it's free. And my only caveat is to, if you have the funds, to donate to UNICEF for their own donations for helping children in Ukraine, refugees in Ukraine that are affected by this ongoing invasion.
You know, first of all, that's amazing that you're doing that. I'm sure people out there are super excited and happy for that. That's super, super awesome. So I want to go back to saying, you're saying that no matter what our own experiences, we should have more compassion towards the people currently being displaced in Ukraine, right?
It's having that human compassion, right? And so humans from Central America, being refugees from Central America, fleeing, as well as from Africa, or even our Haitian neighbors, when they were coming in and doors were being shut, I think we need to have more compassion regardless of where they come from. In this case, El Paso Hero is up front center, taking a stance, especially with Mexico's neutral stance with the invasion. I felt that it was important for the Mexican president was not going to stand up. The Mexican superhero, El Paso Hero, will.
Nice. So what message do you have for the people about immigration struggles at the border and around the world?
It goes back to hope and compassion, that it's our human spirit, our human nature to look for what's best for our own children, and that to be resilient, because our folks have such high tenacity and rigor, persevering, that it's part of the nature not to lose hope, and to be active in your community, to be the change you want to be in your community.
So what's your own immigration background? I know you're 10th generation in Texas, right?
Yes, and so my family has been in Texas for quite a long time. My father being our local genealogist, we take pride on our heritage, our culture, it being from an indigenous background as well as Spanish. My father's been in the military. I have some great uncles who World War II, Vietnam. My grandfather had a great sense of justice, and also he worked in Houston, Texas. From the border, he would go to Houston, Texas, and he would tell us a lot about the awfulness of Jim Crow laws and how, especially seeing those signs, no blacks, Mexicans, Spaniards, dogs are allowed, all these awful discriminative institutional practices. Also within my mom's side, being from Mexico, my great grandfather was a captain cavalry in the Mexican Revolution, and so it's something that it makes us humble. It makes us appreciative of our freedoms, that we do have this great freedom of speech, it being comics, literature, that is very important to us to exercise.
So where is El Paso Hero headed next?
Well, currently with El Paso Hero, we had just finished our 10th year arc. And so we're jumping into a new arc coming next year. And it's going to be a really fun book, El Paso Hero, the Sicario War. And so we're dealing with the backlash of what happened in the previous story arc. Ignacio Rivera, El Paso Hero, is growing.
Now, how can people read El Paso Hero comics?
Yes, you can definitely go to RioBravoComics.com and you can check out the latest book, El Paso Hero Ukraine. It is free, but please donate to UNICEF for their efforts for protecting refugee children.
And Hector, lastly, what's your American dream?
My American dream would be to close income inequality, to close class inequality, provide free healthcare, because we're lagging so far behind, not also healthcare, but as well as mental health care too.
Agreed. Well, Hector, thank you so much for joining us today. This was awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, good job, Jonathan. That was interesting, Hector. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. All right, our first day back. 10 questions 50 seconds. You ready? Let's do it. All right, Jonathan's meditating before we start.
Gotta get it.
All right, you ready? Let's do it.
After I get my green card, how long will it take my parents in the U.S. to get my parents to the U.S.?
Forever. You have to be a citizen.
Can I file an adjustment of status and not be married to a American citizen?
If you're in legal status and eligible for a green card only.
Can I file for K3 if I'm waiting on I-130 approval?
Yes.
How long does K3 visa take to get approved?
At least 6-9 months.
Can a citizen file for a sibling already living in the U.S.?
Yes, but how are they going to adjust their status?
How can I apply for a student visa for my niece?
Get accepted to a school and then apply for the student visa.
If I overstayed my visa, can I get married and apply for SSN directly, or do I need to apply through USCIS?
You have to apply for adjustment to get the work permit to get the SSN.
What does a VAWA derivative mean for a 20-year-old child?
It means that you're included on your case, on your mother's or father's case.
Can I get a passport with only one parent's permission?
No, you need both.
I have a green card in 2018. When can I file for citizenship?
Ooh, that hurt.
It did. Oh.
2023.
Ooh, almost. There are long answers.
So close, but you know what?
We were doing really good.
It doesn't matter if Jill says it was so close, but it doesn't matter if we're close or we missed it by 5 questions. I still get my ASS blown up.
Artucus.
Yeah, Artucus blown up. Doesn't matter how close you are.
That was very close, too.
What do they say? Close only matters in horseshoes, right? Is that right?
I just know about close but no cigar.
Close but no cigar.
But what's that mean?
I think in horseshoes it's like the closest to the, you throw the horseshoe
and
it's like the closest to the, closest to whatever you're throwing to. I don't know.
Even that doesn't win if you get it on
the closest only matters in shuffleboard. You know shuffleboard?
Yeah. Oh yes, shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard.
Now, that would be a good one.
Close matters there. Damn.
That's a damn.
All right, comments of the day. We're back, Jonathan. We'll try to do better tomorrow.
Yes. Ooh, okay. Our first comment of the day. Cat lover. Robert Jackson saying, my cat knows the variation of his name. He comes if I call him Chuck or Charles.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. What do I know?
Yeah, that's what I said.
No. What they said was he knows the other cat's names. Does your cat know his or her cat friend's names?
There you go.
My dog knows his name, but that doesn't mean my dog knows other dogs' names.
So like if you called the other dog, would your dog look at him
exactly,
like,
hey,
come on,
let's go. Come on, he's calling you. Right. that was what that study was. Right.
All right, our second comment of the day. Olufemi saying, welcome back. Hope you guys had a great vacation. We appreciate the wonderful free advice you keep giving to the immigrant community.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes. And we have another. Rihanna saying, geez, I'm humbly suggesting that y'all don't go on vacation anymore because today is off the chain.
Wow. That's it, Jonathan.
No. Don't say it.
We're going to chain ourselves off the chain. That means we're chained right here.
Right. Oh, Lord, Rihanna.
We are not even going to leave these seats.
We need a vacation,
We will not. Nope. We're not going to leave these seats, and we'll be back here in 21 hours or 22 hours. All right.
Could you imagine?
We don't leave. They just put us in deep ice, and then they unthaw us for the show.
Wow. Thanks, Rihanna.
Yeah.
And our last comment of the day. Elizabeth Francis saying Uncle Brad is a jack of all trades and he's mastered all of them.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
I like to think so too.
Yes.
Some people may disagree, but I agree with you.
I agree as well.
All right, thank you all for watching. We got Tuesday tea tomorrow. I don't know what we're talking about, but it's Yo-Yo's favorite day. We'll see you then. So Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK, 1-800-529-5465.